Hi YouTube. Today I'm back with a much requested video on how to color maps. I finally got around to recording myself coloring a map, and so I'm just going to narrate over the top of it, and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two. The map I'm coloring today is the Dwarven Outpost, a bit of a subterranean map with some dramatic lights and shadows at play, and hopefully everything will be very clear for the video. So the program I'm using today is GIMP, which is kind of a free alternative to Photoshop. I've set up my canvas large enough to load my scan into. I've gone ahead and scanned in my physical map into a digital PNG, and I will load that into the image, and then we're going to set up the line art so that we can color underneath it without affecting the line art in any way. So there's two methods that I use to isolate the line art. The first is definitely the simplest. You can simply set the scan layer to multiply. So the layer mode on multiply basically means that all the white will be turned transparent and the black will still show up. The second method I use mostly for buildings, which I need to later turn the background transparent. So if you're painting tokens or like objects or something that you need a transparent background on, use this method. It's called color to alpha, and it's also going to change all of the white to transparent, keep the black, but this is going to be on a normal mode layer, which will be useful when it comes time to crop everything, but this won't apply to this map. So with your scanned lines now isolated to their own layer, we can create as many layers as we want underneath this layer for our colors. Now, comic book artists call this stage flatting, and the basic idea is that you want each group of colors, not even each group of colors, but each flat color to be on its own layer. So if you watch carefully in the time lapse that should be playing now, I've got separate layers for like cobblestone, for wood, for fabric, and the reason we can do this is that with each of these colors on separate layers, you can tweak each color separately. So if I wanted the wood to be a different shade of brown, I can quite easily use the brightness of contrast tool or the hue shift or colorize tool and do whatever I want to that wood layer. So during this stage, you're just flattening in all of your separate colors on separate layers. And you can do this, and you'll see me do this with several different tools. I'll use the generic paintbrush. I'll use like a grungy paintbrush if it's separate from the lines and I want it to kind of blend in. You could use the lasso tools if you prefer. And of course the magic wand is often useful for very defined spaces. So you can have X amount, X being any number you'd like, of colored layers. And in the final step, we're going to add two more layers, one for shadow and one for light. So at this stage, you'll use two tools mostly, just the regular paintbrush. I'm using that grungy brush again, just to keep everything looking similar and thematic. And the second tool is the smudge tool, which will just help us blend the shadow and the light all together with their background colors and everything else. So much like flatting, I'm not yet paying attention to the hue, I'm just keeping everything separate and defined, and after this stage is when we'll go in and fiddle with all the colors and make it look just how we imagined it. So I like to begin with the light layer on beneath the shadow layer, and I just paint in where I imagine the torches on the walls are, and just put like a halo of light in that area. I'll dot these around the dungeon, and after that I'll go in with the shadow layer and the grunge brush, and I'll basically paint in the shadow around these torches, keeping the torch placement in mind and just darkening the rest of the dungeon where the light doesn't fall. So after all your color flats are down and you've got your lights and your shadows down, you see the whole thing kind of looks a bit too colorful, a bit like a child's painting perhaps, if you're anything like me. So now we're going to go in and just play around with the hue sliders and the saturation, switch the colors up and basically find something that we like. So I usually, though in this dungeon, I kind of accidentally get it right the first time, I think. In a lot of maps, I'll try 3 or 4 different color sets before I settle on one that I like the best. Now, I'm certain that there are YouTube channels out there that can explain color theory better than I can, so I'm just going to keep it simple for this video. The main things that I find when you're painting a map, to get a style similar to mine, kind of a colorful watercolor sort of look is what I'm often going for. The main thing is not to use black for your shadows. Try like a purple or a blue hue, but quite desaturated. A pointer that I've heard before, which works especially well in outdoor maps, is to set your shadow to the same hue as the sky above. So sunsets, the shadows will tend towards purple or even like a maroon, whereas midday they'll be a very desaturated blue. And that's going to inject a whole lot more color into your painting than if you were to use just a straight black. For the lights, anywhere on the spectrum from yellow to red, or for something more magical, you could try any color of the rainbow. And then everything else really comes down to personal taste, I think, because I can't really explain how I choose the colors. That said, it is keeping in mind like your contrasting colors, such as in this map. You can see the shadows. I've chosen quite a deliberate purple, and the lights are the contrasting orange, so you get that kind of dramatic hue shift there. And really, that's my How to Color a Map 101 video. I'm certain there will be points in there that make sense in my head, which I haven't communicated well enough or at all. So if anything stands out to you, or if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. I'll certainly make more videos and more detailed videos. And as always, please do check out my website and see if there's any maps you like. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support these videos and the map creation. Otherwise, hit subscribe if you'd like to see more of these videos, and I will see you in the next one.